Alright, greetings friends, welcome to another daily-ish vlog with a chat in the middle. So I did film this with different points throughout my day, but I wasn't sure that was going to work out. So I'm just going to sit down and share what's on my mind here and what I want to convey to you today, how to handle criticism, specifically destructive criticism that is not meant to improve you or make you better. It's just kind of that negative criticism. Now, I think the first thing to know that will make you most immune, so to speak, is knowing yourself and knowing your truth and believing in what you're doing. So we receive criticism pretty much when we put ourselves out there, or when we try something new, or when we follow something that's been a little bit different for us or maybe different from what other people are doing or practicing, and that is when you get criticism. And I think if you believe enough in what you're doing, and if you believe in yourself and what you're trying to create, the life you're trying to live, criticism becomes irrelevant. And it is irrelevant because you're more focused on what you're doing rather than what other people have to say. And if the criticism is personal to you, it's not about what you're doing, but about you personally, you as a person, or how you look or anything, it can only bother you if you haven't fully accepted it. Like, for example, if you think it's true. So if someone says like, oh, she's lazy or something, and if you think you might be lazy, like that kind of comment or criticism might bother you. But if you know you're lazy, or if you know that by lazy you actually mean like working smarter and not harder, or if you actually know that you truly are not lazy, then a comment like, oh, she's lazy isn't going to affect you if you know what you're doing, if you know what you're working for. A comment can't bother you as long as you accept it either as completely true, like, oh yes, like I definitely am like a little bit selfish, or like, yes, I definitely am a little bit loud and expressive. If you accept that, then the criticism about that can't bother you. Or if you accept it as definitely not true, or you're like, I definitely know I'm not lazy, or like I definitely know I'm not rude or selfish, then a comment that you're rude, selfish, or lazy can't bother you either because you fully accepted that it's not true. The only way it can bother you is if you haven't really accepted it. If you aren't confident about that, or if you're not sure about where you stand with that, that's when criticism in that area can bother you. Another thing to keep in mind is that when people criticize you, it actually has more to say about them than it has to say about you. The reason being, people are truly focused on what they're doing, or focused on their life, or who have worthwhile things to do with their time and energy, are not going to bother with criticizing other people. They aren't going to bother with snide comments or, trying to bring someone down if what they're doing with their own life is worthwhile. If someone criticizes you, it could mean that they don't have something better to do, or they could just be attacking something in you that they fear in themselves. So they are like, it's kind of like a projection, like they're projecting their fears. Like if you're doing something that they wish they could do, or they're not brave enough to do, they're going to attack that as a way to justify why they themselves aren't doing that. As an example, I don't know, exactly everyone that would offer criticism, but I know that I'm not going to internalize it because I can't take it personally, because they should be taking it personally. They should take their own criticism personally because it reflects on them. Same goes for you if you criticize others. If there's something that you don't like about someone, or something that that really irritates you about another person, that probably has something to do with you, and take that opportunity to reflect on what maybe you're going through. Okay, so I actually did have to move after all. Anyway, so I want to share this story that my coach shared with me, and it is about the gift not taken. And I think like Buddha said this or something. I'll just leave the quote up here. Basically, if someone gives you a gift and you don't accept it, to whom does the gift belong? The person who is trying to give it. And the same thing can be said of criticism. If someone gives you criticism and you don't accept it, they're holding it, like it's on them. And that's what I mean by criticism really has more to say about the person giving it than the person who was meant to receive it. Now, this one is a little bit uncomfortable, especially if you're new to putting yourself out there, but sheer and repeated exposure to criticism will help make it not better, but you will get better at handling it. And not that it's never going to hurt again when someone says something about the content you produce, or the outfit that you wear, or the workout that you're doing, or the body that you're trying to work on. You'll still get comments, but over time, like, you just learn and you'll just get better at them. You'll grow thick skin, you'll be able to pass it off, you'll probably have some good witty comebacks as well, but just put yourself out there. It's still uncomfortable, and the more you put yourself out there, I think the more you invite criticism, but you grow with it, and that's just part of pursuing your dreams. Another thing to consider is, can it be constructive? This video about criticism is specifically about destructive criticism. Like, it's not meant in a way to help you. Constructive criticism will come from your coaches, your bosses, as long as the criticism is about your work and not about you. Or it comes from people that you have asked for their feedback. Like if I ask someone for feedback and they criticize me, that should be constructive because I have asked for it. However, something to keep in mind is that sometimes, especially with friends and family, they project their fear and insecurities on you. If someone truly cares about you and your development and your progress, is that they have a little bit of detachment. They're like, well, in my opinion this, however, I support you whatever you do. That is an example of constructive criticism. Even if maybe the criticism is destructive, just know that you have a nice supporter or a nice support group or a nice support person if they promise to support you no matter what you decide, whether or not you accept their criticism or not. And last thing I want to talk about is if your inner critic is yourself. If you yourself are giving yourself the negative criticism like, oh, you're not good enough, you shouldn't have done this, why do you look like that, you need more time, you need more experience, blah, blah, blah. If your inner critic is yourself, just understand that it's actually outside criticism that you've internalized and accepted as coming from you. So no, you don't think you're not good enough. Something else on the outside slipped that idea in your mind and you've internalized it. Now you think it's your own thought. Now you think it's your own opinion. And my coach always says you need to be your biggest cheerleader to get through this and to go through this and to get through this criticism. You cannot internalize outward criticism and have it parade as your own opinion, because you have a mission and you are on a journey to express yourself, to create your dream life, to share your gifts with the world, and you can't let criticism stop you, even if it comes from yourself. So I hope this video was helpful to you. I hope this, let me give you some feedback on this format, because we're doing kind of a vlog style as well. And guys, go for it. Express yourself, go for your dreams. Don't let criticism keep you from being your fullest self. I have to tell you that. So I hope you enjoyed this vlog. Still working with this new format. So hope we'll catch you in the next one. Have a happier, healthier, and more magical day.